Hey guys, Luke and I'm here to preview Game 2 of the 2015 State of Origin series. Now obviously Queensland got the upper hand, they won the first game, and it was a pretty good performance from Queensland, not so much from New South Wales. I mean, both sides weren't outstanding or absolutely terrible, but just in stages, obviously Queensland just showed the dominance in the second half in particular. I mean, New South Wales had the upper hand in the first half, as we know. I think it was half time they went in with the lead, so it was pretty solid, but obviously not outstanding. Probably should have went in with more points, but that's Queensland staying in it, and same goes to Queensland. They probably should have won by a lot more than what they eventually did. The fact that New South Wales stayed in the game for as long as they did sort of says a lot about their defence. And you go back to last year's, you look at the last few series, all the scorelines have been pretty small scorelines, a lot of 1-pointers, a lot of 2-pointers, a lot of field goals deciding it, including the game threes, or the deciders, I should say. So we're gonna start off with the Queensland side. We're seeing, I suppose they're not technically the home side, but Melbourne's probably going to be more of a Queensland fan base, so that's definitely a plus for them. So we'll start off with Billy Slater, Darius Boyd, Greg Inglis, Justin Hodges, Will Chambers, Jonathan Thurston, Daly Cherry Evans, Matt Scott, Cameron Smith, Nate Miles, Aiden Guerra, Sam Thaiday, Corey Parker, and the bench is Michael Morgan, Josh Maguire, Matt Gillett, and Jacob Lillyman. The Blues lineup is Josh Dugan, Brett Morris, Josh Morris, Michael Jennings, Will Hopewadi, Mitchell Pearce, Trent Hawkinson, James Tamu, Robbie Farah, who's the captain. Oh, actually, he's not captain, is he? I don't know. Aaron Woods, Bo Scott, Ryan Hoffman, Paul Gallen. Paul Gallen's 100% captain. The one I'm reading has got Robbie Farah listed as captain for some reason. Then the bench is Merrin, Cordner, Clemmer, and Jackson. Now, if you want to see my thoughts in more detail on the teams themselves, I've got some videos with the use of the Rugby League Live 3 Fan Hub. You can go back and check them out. They were yesterday and the day before. I think yesterday was Queensland, New South Wales the day before. So basically I've said my piece on who I think should have been picked and who shouldn't, and my thoughts on the teams overall. So let's talk about who's going to win and why they're going to win. Maybe even sort of like why they can win more than picking an actual winner. But we'll start off with Queensland. Obviously they've got the 1-0. They've already got the confidence of winning the first game. For them, Cherry Evans coming into this starting side, or coming into the side in general, for Cooper Cronk. We've seen last year with New South Wales, I think New South Wales, they were good. Hayne was very good in that, but I think we saw the bit of inexperience there for Cherry Evans. Not that he played particularly really, really bad, but just the team wasn't really as fluent as they normally are without Cronk. And that's just how it is. You can't really expect someone like a Cronk. I know with they had Lockyer and Lockyer went and then Cronk came in, but Cronk he was ready. He'd been in that side for a long time, and he could easily came in. Cherry Evans is he has been in the squad for a little while, but he's not an experienced sort of player. He's come on for little sections here and there, played a bit of second grade. I know Cronk did the same thing, but Cronk was a lot further in his career at that point. Had won multiple premierships. Cherry Evans just the one. But yeah, Cronk, he's such a good player, and he plays with a lot of structure. So I suppose when you have Cherry Evans coming in, it's a whole different style of halfback there. So got to adjust to that. And I think the games we saw from him last year didn't look particularly that impressive. But you can't rule him out because it's his first few games. I mean, how many halves have we seen come in and just destroy in their first few games? Doesn't usually happen too often. Well, at least in my memory anyways. Maybe that's been sort of rattled a little bit just due to the fact that New South Wales debut so many halves and they don't play very well. But I suppose Cherry Evans is probably better than, he's better than both halves New South Wales have got. So they've got that going for them, I suppose. In terms of Billy Slater, he's injured, saying this could be his last game for the season. I'm not really sure if that's something that you want to be seeing in the headlines before the game. I mean, what it is doing is putting a huge target on his back. So yeah, they're definitely going to be hitting him a lot harder, especially after some of the little things he was doing last game, like the elbow into the back of Josh Morris. So he already would have had a little bit of a target on his head, and we've seen in previous years getting some late shots and that sort of stuff. So just enhances it even more. Greg Inglis, they're saying he's going to be sort of switching between wing and that sort of stuff. That's all well and good. I'm not sure what they're going to do with who's coming into like the centres when he swaps. I mean, you think Will Chambers is the logical answer, but if it's, the side's not going to be swapping Will Chambers from whatever right wing or whatever he was on into the left centre, which is where Inglis is. So unless they swap sides, I don't know. Plus, I'd probably move Inglis and Hodges. I'd switch them centre sides anyways, just due to the fact that Josh Morris seems to have the wood over Inglis of recent time. Not just the last game, but for the last few series. Probably most of the time Josh Morris has been playing Origin consistently. He's had Greg Inglis wrapped up pretty much. So Justin Hodges isn't someone who breaks through, makes a lot of line breaks or whatever. He just does the hard work, does the little scoots from dummy half, get some more meters. He'll do some of those sort of runs. Whereas Inglis, he can really break open a game. I'm not saying Hodges doesn't do it, but I'm saying Inglis is more of an X factor. If you can get him up against Jennings, who's probably the weaker of the two. I'm not saying Jennings is a terrible defender or anything. I'm just saying he's just weaker of the two. Probably beneficial for them. The rest of the squad, the argument's still there, and I'm not going to backtrack on those. It is an aging team. But we can't go against that. You look at the 4-pack and that, it's fairly old. But in saying that though, the guys who are old are doing quite a good job. And actually, the more I look at it, the more it's just, it just seems like a fairly experienced. It seems like it's got a pretty good balance. We'll put it at that. I thought the bench was pretty solid. Michael Morgan off the bench. I thought he was pretty good. A lot better than what I would have thought. But I'm talking too much about the teams, I think, in particular with Queensland. Basically why they can win. They've got a lot of experience. They've already got game one under their belt. So that 1-0 up. So a little bit less pressure on them, you would think. And they got the motivation of just trying to wrap it up. But at the same time, that could be bad for them as well, because they've got that little bit of luxury of well, if we lose this game, well, we got game 3 as well. Whereas New South Wales, they're really, really desperate. New South Wales, but I mean, obviously, I've already expressed in my other videos, they've got huge doubts over their halves, and Robbie Farah didn't have the best game. I mean, always does great in defence and that sort of stuff, but when it came down to crucial times, sort of wasn't there. Is that the injury? I mean, you could probably argue it was. But yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna play injured, like you still got to be able to do the job. No point playing injured and not being able to do it. But like I said, he did play pretty well for the most part. Just at the end there, sort of I don't know, choked a little bit, I suppose. But this second game, it seems like they keep saying, heard him say, I wasn't gonna play, and then 48 hours ago started to feel good. Well, of course it is. He's always gonna play. They're always gonna say that. Whoever would have been in this squad, 48 hour, a miracle recovery. It's just what happens for Origin. They play injured. Is it going to be good or bad for New South Wales? Probably good. But would it have been so bad if Michael Ennis, someone came in like a fit Michael Ennis up against an injured shoulder, Robbie Farah? I don't really know. It remains to be seen. But as we've seen in the past, Farah, he does the job pretty well. Probably the best we got. I thought the starting props, all the starters were pretty solid last game. I've seen a lot of people not liking Josh Jackson, but he was there to do that sort of role, just doing all the dirty runs that nobody wants to do. Because as we've seen here, like how many players from New South Wales, I mean now it's a little bit different, but we've got a lot of impact players, not too many sort of get in, do the hard yards. I know Bo Scott and Ryan Hoffman do a lot of that as well, but we just needed the extra one because Gallen was doing a lot of it and Josh Jackson was there to do it. He just drops to the bench. I don't really know how I feel about that. I sort of feel he's sort of like a starter or nothing sort of player probably for New South Wales at this stage. What I'm trying to say is I don't think he has a huge impact off the bench, but at the same time, like I'm not really sure how they're going to work the interchange because Trent Merrin didn't come on till very late. But yeah, I think what needs to happen is the bench needs to match the starters, and I think they just need to get the rotations a lot better, pretty much. Brett Morris being a huge in, and obviously we know Gallen, even though I don't really think he's up to scratch on form, but probably just his presence in the side will, do wonders for the rest of the team, you'd think. Just his leadership probably. But yeah, Brett Morris I think is a big in on the wing. I thought Daniel Tupou was very, very average. I thought Hopewadi probably not that much better, but yeah, the real problem is in the halves, and you've seen, like, you compare the spines. I mean, even with some injuries, Queensland's still miles ahead of New South Wales, and we're seeing the halves. The spine's so important inside. I mean, they're not they're not a surefire thing of winning, as we saw last year. But then we had Jared Hayne last year, and he was incredible. In terms of being able to pick a winner, it's definitely a tough one. As much as I'd like to say New South Wales, like, being winning, it's hard to say like with any convincing. Like, it's hard to say convincingly. Although I am going to pick New South Wales, just due to the fact that Queensland won the first one. New South Wales do or die here, very, very desperate, and Paul Gallen coming back in, it makes for a good story, I suppose. But it's hard to go against Queensland, but I am going to go against them. So yeah, New South Wales to win, hopefully, from a New South Wales perspective. Hopefully I wasn't too critical of any players or any states. Try to keep it fairly down the middle. I talked about Queensland probably a lot more than what I should have, but that's just how it went. And yeah, sorry about that. But thank you for watching the video. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to my channel. Go check out my other videos. On Thursday, after State of Origin Game 2, we'll be doing a review of the game, just my thoughts and opinions. And yeah, check out all my other Rugby League Live 2/3/Rugby League Manager stuff. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Mr. Luke on YT, the Twitter handle. Also got a Facebook page in the description below, which is linked to my Twitter. So if I do any tweets during State of Origin or anything, you'll be able to go and see it. And yeah, that's where the video's going to end. Leave in the comments what are your predictions for the game, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.